Welcome to another Founder Wisdom Pod. We have Corentin Stephan with us today. He's the founder of Sales Gents. I've met Corentin before. We've masterminded before. He's a sales guy, lead gen guy, just like I am. He runs this B2B lead generation agency in Paris, in France, has clients from all over the world. So we're going to have a nice discussion today about sales, sales AI, sales agents, B2B outreach, AI outreach, and everything between. This podcast is brought to you by podper.com. If you want to start your own podcast or scale your own podcast, go to podper.com. It's also brought by 88 Herbs. 88 Herbs, I have a friend that works there, sent me a bunch of these supplements. This one is Go Plus for focus and endurance, concentration in French. Has caffeine and L-theanine, a nice balance right there. So shout out to 88 Herbs and Addison, one of the co-founder. Corentin, welcome to the pod. Tell me a bit more about yourself and what you're up to nowadays.
Yeah, sure. So first of all, it's a pleasure to be on your pod, Charles. Yeah, uh, I like you said, I run a lead gen agency. I've been doing so for the past 5 years now. So I've been in the game for let's say, quite a long time. So I've seen trends and I've seen the overall industry also transforms over the past few years. Obviously, the way that we sent email and that we generated leads 5 years ago is very different from what we're using now, especially with AI, with the new tools available. Now you can personalize email at scale, and you can really, do stuff that you could do 5 years ago, but only manually. That's that's it on my end. I also run two other businesses, a SaaS which is called Oraspay. It's a SaaS for essentially for recruitment agencies to find and to essentially how to explain, to identify all the companies that are actively looking to hire. And from there, they have access to the list of companies in like any countries, any city that you're interested in, that you're interested in, sorry. And from there, they get all the information that they need to target them. So for them, it's a way to avoid having to scrape LinkedIn or Indeed, stuff like that. And I also run a creative, like an AI creative marketing agency. But my main business, of course, is sales gents.
Very cool. Well, you also started Cassie Store in 2017. So
Yeah.
yes, that was a fashion slash lifestyle brand, generated 50K monthly visitors, generated 10K MRR. So you started in entrepreneurship straight up. That was your first job.
Yeah, pretty much. I started with like drop shipping, which I guess a lot of people did back then. I actually started back in 2016 with my first e-commerce shop, and then Cassie Store was like, some sort of a fantasy of mine. I just wanted to have like a fashion brand. Obviously, it didn't work out very well. We tried, but yeah, we generated a bit of money, which back then for at my age was very, very cool. But actually, I also went through two internships before saying, okay, entrepreneurship is for me. I don't see myself really pursuing a career um, in like finance, which was my main degree.
Right. And why did you not pursue like a career in finance and pivoted in sales in 2019, sorry.
Um, it's a good question because I wasn't meant to do sales at all. As like, I was like finance is very different. I tried to do like internships in hedge funds. I liked it, but it lacks freedom for me. And freedom, like for me, freedom is like really, it's not doing what I want whenever I want, because when you're an entrepreneur, you know it as well as I do. You still have you have clients you have to You have responsibilities, you have also employees and stuff. But I just wanted to do something for me, and just for me. Maybe it was a bit selfish, to be honest. I guess a lot of entrepreneurs kind of are sometimes. So yeah, I guess, but the why I went in sales is something like I don't really know. I guess the yeah, actually I remember now. So I used to have I used to run a small marketing agency. Like we did Facebook ads, Google ads, because obviously I was in the e-commerce industry before, so I knew how to run Facebook ads and Google ads. Started that with reasonable, like wasn't very successful, but we were good at hiring clients, at finding clients. So I was thinking to myself, okay, maybe I could do that model at for various companies. And I didn't know anything about sales. I didn't know anything about cold email, but I started with cold email. Uh, what I did back then was like very like it's like random emails. I didn't know how to write. I didn't know how to configure like DNS records, for instance. So I just went in, and back then it was a lot easier than now. So I had good results fairly easily from day one with this lead gen agency.
Right. And question about that, like who are your first clients? Who was your first ICP? And how did you distinguish yourself from these other agencies?
So my first client, the very first client that I got, I still work with them right now. It was it's they're called HLH prototypes. It's a um rapid manufacturing company. So essentially what they do is that they manufacture products. Um, how did I find them? I don't remember exactly how I did find them, and I don't think that I was doing anything particular to really set myself apart from the competition. I wasn't even aware of the competition, to be really honest, because like I said, I didn't know anything about the industry. I just went in a bit blindly, maybe, and I didn't care about the competition. I didn't care about anyone else. I just went in. Now, obviously, it's a lot different. I know my competitors well, and in the industry also blew up 2 years ago. So there's a lot of people that self-proclaim that they are experts in sales. In reality, they just started 2 months ago. So now we got to do stuff differently. But back then, like I said, I didn't see much competition, to be really honest.
Right.
When up,
And
when
okay,
sorry.
and nowadays, like how do you distinguish yourself? And also nowadays, who's like your ICP? Is it like tech company? Is it worldwide or?
Yeah. So first question is how do we different ourselves? Like a lot of agencies, we do performance based, which is one way to set yourself apart. But what really makes a difference here is the case studies that we have, and the testimonials. Essentially, the social proof is what makes the big difference. So it's what makes a difference in every business. So it's not something that I do particularly, but I know that I have recorded lots of interviews with my clients, and I'm posting them on my website and throughout different platforms, which is what, like, for instance, before I have a call with a prospect, I always send like an automated email with okay, here is like some testimonials with like different industries and stuff. Feel free to take a look at it. And I'm also recording a VSL. So it's still it's being edited now. And in terms of my ICP now, yeah, so it's B2B organizations that have a large audience. So it could be tech companies, of course. SaaS is where I have most of my clients. We also do service-based companies. So we have some marketing agencies. We have also HR related companies in our portfolio. Um, and yeah, tech, services, and HR would be.
Right. And your tech stack nowadays, what does it look like? It seems you use Instantly to send cold emails mostly. Tell us a bit more about that.
Yeah. So we use so the tech stack now is so we use instantly to send to send the emails. I also have a smart account that I use, but my go-to account is always instantly. I started to use them when they had their first AppSumo launch, so that was 2 years ago. There's also Apollo in my tech stack. Obviously, there's Prospeo. We use Clay. I also tried Persona, but I like Clay. I like Clay better because I started using it before. And obviously, I use ChatGPT to personalize my emails, as well as Clay. But ChatGPT is always, I mean, it's just a fantastic tool.
Right. I saw some of your ChatGPT example on your LinkedIn. So you use the instantly built-in ChatGPT function. What kind of personalization do you go for? Because the one that I saw was like, describe what type of products this company sell. We could also go at like describe this company's ICP, describe this company's pain points, for example, describe why they would potentially need cold email. So tell us about like personalized tags that
Mm.
tools like Apollo instantly don't have, but AI can actually do.
Um, yeah, so there's few ways to personalize your emails, and for obviously you know what I mean, but for everyone that don't know a lot about cold email, personalization can be vast. So what I like to personalize is based on the company's data. I always find creepy when the emails are personalized based on like their like even on their LinkedIn activity. I don't really like. I feel like it's a bit creepy sometimes. It seems irrelevant to me sometimes, most of the time. Of course, if you talk about a post that they posted 2 weeks ago about something that is related to your industry, then of course it's fine. But sometimes I don't. I find it's irrelevant. So what we do is that we only personalize based on the company data that we get from LinkedIn, of course, most of the time. And the tags that we use can be always depends, of course, on the industry, but there's few ones that works very, very well. It's the ICP. So, you know, uh, describing their ICP is in a smart way, I'd say can be very useful. Describing their activity, but uh, it's a complicated one because it's not because you know what your customer do that you're gonna be that it's relevant to target them. So we try to do it sometimes, but it's always included into like a let's say a smart. Um, uh, it's not like It's not like, oh, I love how company do stuff. You know, that doesn't work very well. So we do the company description, but it's in a text that is like a little bit let's say written in a smart way. We also describe and have a guess on their pain points. That works well. So you come up with like a few pain points that they might be facing, and then you come up with a solution that works well. And for e-commerce specifically, we describe and try to find um, um, their product type or the bestseller if we can find it. That works well. That's the kind of personalization that we use.
Right. On my side, I've been using Clay quite a lot. Like, what do you think about Clay? What do you think are the potential case studies to use Clay instead of tools like Instantly or Apollo?
Um, I mean, clay is unlimited, basically. Like the limits are only your imagination. So you could do a lot more than just cold email with clay, of course. Um, it it's really brilliant. The use case that you can have with clay are I'm sure I utilize clay at like 5% of what could be done. The only thing with clay is that obviously um, I only do it when I need a lot of personalization, but for my go-to sequences or just for my agencies, for instance, when I don't have a lot of time to build like clay templates and stuff, I just use, like you said before, the instantly AI thing, which makes it very, very easy to just like add personalization at scale, but the email has to be relevant. For sequences that need to be personalized, of course, Clay is my go-to, but like I said, I use it maybe at 5% of what it could be used for.
Do you still do LinkedIn outreach as well in combination with cold email?
Sometimes, but to be strictly honest, um I don't really use LinkedIn that much for direct outreach, unless I do it manually, because unless it's done at the right time and stuff. I don't think LinkedIn work very, very well. I just, at least in my experience, I know some people would get offended by that, and they use LinkedIn and it works great for them. But for me, I see it more as a inbound platform than an outbound platform.
Right. Yeah, LinkedIn is, I mean, is more complete, right? You have all your experience, you have your image, you have your description, and so forth. It's a place where you can post content as well. So, yeah, I think it can be interesting to use both in combination and um, just get a bunch of follow-up going on from all your cold emails because cold email, I think there's still the spam or scam aura over them. It's like, oh, this person gonna scam me out of my money. Um, in terms of copywriting, like what are your tips to actually get in the inbox first and then uh, communicate to that person that you're an actual real human being and that you have a great offer for them?
Yeah, yeah. So I um so essentially a cold email to be, let's say, effective and get through to the inbox needs to be rather short. I mean, there's some templates that are very long that I use that works as well. So it's not a black or white kind of thing. You can write a long email and still get responses, but most of the time it's better to write a short email, maybe under 100 words or maybe even under 80 words. Whatever you can say in a few words is always better. So yeah, short emails. Usually I use plain text, so no HTML. Plain text. So of course you can't track the open rate with plain text, but I find that open rates can be sometimes irrelevant anyway. So I just focus on the reply rates. So short email. There's also a list of words that you shouldn't be using, such as, I don't know, free or get that for free, like offer, stuff like that. It's better to stay away stay away from these keywords, although you can get away with it sometimes. But yeah, short text, short email, plain text. Usually I don't add a lot of things in my signature. Just like, CEO at Celsius, some information about our company, or maybe like if I'm going to a trade show or something, I'll add it into the signature. So that's with the copy, but then there's a lot of things also that comes into the deliverability thing that are outside of the copy.
Right. For sure. And okay, the deliverability, what are your other tips with that? Because instantly I know that they use multiple mailboxes. And it's like a bunch of Google Workspace. Do you think Google Workspace can still scale? And yeah, what's your plan to keep on getting in the inbox over the next couple of years?
Yeah, yeah. I'm not the biggest fan of Google. Um, you can maybe scale with Google, but they can do whatever they want with your account. They could block it, uh, and you can't say anything about it. You can't even retrieve your account sometimes. So yeah, there's two ways to use instantly. I guess you can do whatever people say, which is like buy like 20 domains, 40 email accounts. I don't really use that. Sometimes I do for some clients, but I also use SendGrid a lot. I've been using SendGrid for at least 3 years, ever since there was a possibility to do it with Apollo, because back then I used to use Apollo for to send all my emails. So the integration between Apollo and SendGrid was great, and it still works very well to this day. And then I also for the deliverability thing. So essentially, you got to make sure your your domain, of course, is not listed on blacklists, as well as your IP, which is why I don't really like Google, because they give you shared IPs. So if you're allocated an IP that is being used by spammers, then you're going to be considered as a spammer anyway. That's why I like SendGrid, because you can buy your own reputation, essentially. I also tried MailForge recently. I can't say much about them yet because I don't have enough data, but it seems to be working well, and you can set up these emails in like 5 minutes, so that's good. So yeah, gotta make sure your IP is safe, your domain is safe, that you've properly set up your DNS records. So that's the SPF, DKIM, and DMARC. And one thing that a tool that you can use as well to monitor if you're going to spam or not is MailRich. MailRich is a great tool to know if you're placed in the inbox or in the spam folder on different kind of providers such as Outlook or Google.
Very cool. Last question here. You said that you are into HR and HR tech. Typically, I have sort of big trouble getting these clients leads because everyone is into HR nowadays and feel that, yeah, like there's been a bunch of layoffs, the economy's not too good. What specific niche in there or what specific offers do you create for these clients for them to be successful?
That's a very good question, actually, because it used to work very, very well with HR three years ago when I first started, and now it's and 4 years ago. But now it's a lot different. If you're targeting them with an HR service that is a direct competition to their own work, you're never gonna get a response. So it has to be specific kind of campaigns where it's not something that they could do themselves, and it's something that if they show that to their boss, they will get they'll be seen as a hero or something. So typically, what works well is like software for mental health, because that's obviously a big thing in the US, but also in Europe and pretty much everywhere in the world, but specifically in the US. So mental health. And yeah, wellness as a whole. And we also have a client that do compensation management. And that worked well as well, because most of the time they do it manually. So it's taking them a lot of time at the end of the month. And it's, it's a waste of time.
So examples of offer for example, I don't know, could it be like if it's a classic HR firm, is it like yeah, 30 days of free work and then if I can't find you anyone in that time period, I give you X, for example? Or could it be that, yeah, like we give you like 5 profiles on the first week? Like how could they distinguish themselves?
Do you mean for recruitment type of?
Yeah, because I mean HR tech, they could have something interesting, although there's like so many of these video interview platform, but classic like HR firms, like what could they offer to really distinguish themselves?
Uh, it's hard to answer, because even myself I've had struggle to make classic HR companies to generate like results for them over the past 2 years now. We do have a client that offer coaching services, which can be considered as like a very classic service. The way that we get them leads is they do leadership coaching, so it's very classic. You can't change their offer, so you can only change the perception of their offer. And essentially, the way that works well for us is we analyze their company profile and the kind of employee that they have, and the intro of the email is about that. We're basically showing them that we've made research about their company type, and then we highlight a few things that could happen with this kind of profiles. So they could leave, for instance, because they're on the verge of burnout, for instance, stuff like that. And then we offer like quick consultation where we can give them free advices on how to keep their leaders. That's the only way that we've made it work. Any frontal approach doesn't work because they don't care and they think that they can do that themselves. HR is a bit like IT. I think IT people think that they can do everything themselves, and they're pretty much reluctant most of the time to buying new softwares. It's a bit the same with HR now, and also because they're bombarded with emails. So
Got it. Well, thanks for today, Corentin. Where can people find out more about you?
yeah, they could go on my LinkedIn profile, and happy to chat with them if they want more information about what we do.